For macroeconomics, macro as the word shows that when we study the economy at large, so it becomes macroeconomics. It covers some topics like GDP, gross domestic product, business cycle, aggregate demand and supply, inflation, unemployment, demand, management through fiscal policy and creation of money with monetary policy. This is we are going to discuss now. First of all, what is GDP? Gross domestic product, number of goods and services produced in a country in 1 year, that will be your GDP. If your GDP is higher, means you have a very better demand and supply pattern. You have more production, so more production is having more jobs and people have more income, so standard of living is better. That's why if you compare the countries, GDP is the first indicator to go for. So this is GDP, says gross domestic product is the principal measure of a national economic performance, right? He says that this is how it goes. We have annual GDP, we have boundaries within the US, we have a market, we have domestic firms, we have international firms. So whatever goods and services they are producing in a country in 1 year, that will be classified as gross domestic product. Yeah, there are three methods through which we calculate the GDP. One method is income method. For example, if I take your income, my income, income of the town, income of the city, and then the province, and then the whole country, if we add, this will become a national income. Other way around, economics assume that what we earn, we spend. So if I take your expenditures, my expenditure, your expenditure, expenditure of the town, city and all the people in the country, that will also consider to be a national income. And the third method is production method, which he says production methods calculate GDP by estimating the gross value added within the country. Expenditure approach, how it works. We have government spends on several things. They are making schools, they are making parks, airport, dams, electricity, others. So government spend in consumption, they do investment, there are some government spendings, and then there are net exports. So first of all, consumer spending is the largest component of GDP, right? Then investment spending is that government try to create jobs in order to facilitate the citizens, so they do a lot of investments. Investment reflects the good thing, if a country is growing, they are investing, they have new projects, that's going to help them in getting the confidence of the market. So this is consumption, investment, then there is government spendings, and then in the last we have net exports. Government's components of total spending consist of goods and services consumed by government in providing public goods and services. So long-lived public infrastructure assets, as I told you, school, bridges, airports, military bases. Then we have transfer payments, like once we transfer money as a social security to the citizen, that will be classified as transfer payments. Net export means every country has import and export, so if you deduct that, the net will be your answer. It can be positive or it can be negative also. Yeah, then consumer spending, if the consumer increase their spending because their high income is high or low, the consumption function curve shift to reflect greater national output. For example, in an economy, if you have more income, your money, you have more salary and your expenses are a little bit less, or inflation is controlled, then you will have a lot of spendings. So economy will move good. Investment spending, if the business increase their spending, for example, new technology is available, or real interest rates are lower, the investment function shifts upwards to reflect greater national output, like auto purchase for taxi companies, this way. Government spendings, I already told you, government spend on different projects, and that can be infrastructural as well. Moving forward, let's talk about income approach. Income approach, as I told you, my income, your income, income of all stakeholders. So this is what he says: salaries and wages, rent, interest, proprietor partnership income, corporate income, indirect business taxes. So this all will be your total, that is your national income. Then we have national domestic product, that measure income generated in US regardless of the ownership of the productive resources. May who is the owner, but what is being produced within the country, this is common net domestic product. So you can memorize this way: I bought 2 net for fishing income is indirect business taxes net foreign factor income, this way. GDP is calculated by adding to net domestic product NDP as allowance for capital stock consumption or lost in the process of generating income. So this is a formula: GDP is equal to NOP plus depreciation of capital, the assets that reduce. So here he show you the flow. He said that economy is into continuous flow. Continuous flow means that there is a consumer, there is a producer. Producer makes, we eat, right? And we need money, we need income to buy, they need money to produce. So there are domestic firms, then there are foreign firms. We have consumer, financial industry is putting LCT or other things, and this is how the cycle is going. In center we have government, they are taking tax, receiving tax, this way. We have saving mechanism, we have investment mechanism. So this is a continuous cycle that reflects an economy or a flow of national income. Then he says that we can calculate GDP with the given data, and GDP only include final good and services. For example, suppose we make cotton, from cotton we make yarn, from yarn we make fabric, from fabric we make t-shirt, and then this t-shirt has been sold, right? So we take the final good and services in consideration in order to avoid any kind of duplications. He says that the value of layer time to the consumer is not included in GDP. Price level accounting, nominal GDP and real GDP. What is nominal GDP? Nominal means gross. Whenever in economics we say gross. Real means the GDP with effect of inflation. For example, if your salary increased 2% but your rent increased 5%, so the real increase is very negative for you, right? So we don't see only the GDP is increasing, we see what is the effect in terms of real GDP. Moving forward, we have business cycles, how they operate. See, every business has a recession, then they go in the recovery, then they go on the boom, and then they have a recession. It can, previously it was 15-20 years, now you can see like every 7-8 years there is economic boom because of globalization, information flow. If America get crisis, then it comes in London, Europe, Middle East and Far East, so it becomes really quick than the previous times. When you are at peak, economy is very good, employment level is very high, GDP is at the top. In the recession, it is opposite, employment level is down and gross domestic product of the country is also down. Possible causes of recession, there would be a lot of causes when you get in recession, maybe a bad administration, then people confidence, demographics, social environment, technological issues, political factors. These all are the factors that can bring a recession to your country. So you have to play very smart to handle your recession. How we see there is a recession, there are leading economics indicator and there are lagging economic indicators. One is financial indicator and one is non-financial indicator.